My great pleasure to welcome you all here to the Royal Danish Library. We have a wonderful programme lined up for you. The programme committee have worked extremely hard since the beginning of the year, so we'd like to extend a huge thank you to all of them, especially Stuart Taylor, the committee chair from the Royal Society. The spirit of OASPA is about sharing experiences, finding practical solutions, and importantly, bringing a diverse community together, and never more so than at this conference. This event has always been about listening to different ideas and opinions, and looking for ways to understand the challenges that we're all facing and find solutions to work on those together. We've got a record number of delegates this year. Thank you all so much for coming. So there'll be a lot of opportunities for you to meet new people, and I hope you'll take advantage of that. We've got delegates from all different backgrounds and perspectives coming at this from different angles. So they'll, over coffee, lunch, and the networking receptions, we hope you'll carry on the discussions that we're having in these sessions here. So tomorrow evening, we're going from the very new, the Black Diamond, to somewhere a bit older, and we invite you to join us in the Lapidarium of Kings, which is a building just over the road, very quick walk from here. This building has hundreds of statues in it now, which are being restored or preserved, and the building itself is over 400 years old. So I sound a bit like a tour guide, but we hope you'll join us, and it's a unique setting for us to spend some time at the end of tomorrow. Before we start, I do have some housekeeping items. Last year, we set out to try and reduce the amount of waste from this conference. We do end up having materials that get thrown away, so we wanted to make it as environmentally friendly as possible. We won't talk about the flights because I won't be able to sleep, but we're not quite able to have a virtual event just yet. But we stopped doing the delegate bags, leaflets, giveaways, and we have not had anything printed this year apart from the badges. So we've emailed out the programme to you. It's also available on our website. If you didn't get that, or you want the delegate list and you didn't get that, let us know and we can sort that out for you. We also stopped offering branded lanyards as a sponsor option, and we have these lovely OASPA ones that we can reuse every year, and the badge holders as well. You may really desperately want these as a souvenir, but we'd really like to have them back, and then we can have them for next year. So please return them. You can leave them on the desk when you leave. You can leave them at your seat when you leave the conference, but we definitely don't want them to get thrown away. So I mentioned the sponsors. Here's a list of them. We couldn't put on this conference, and we couldn't have you all coming here without their support. It just wouldn't be possible. So we really do want to thank them, and we'll be thanking them throughout the conference. So thank you to eLife for sponsoring today's lunch, to Copernicus for our conference registration management. Thank you to Springer Nature for sponsoring our delegate badges, and to the Royal Society of Chemistry for sponsoring our Wi-Fi. So we'll be in touch at the end of the conference. We'll send you a survey. So that's the other thing I wanted to mention. Please do fill that in and give us your feedback. It is really helpful when we're planning the event for next year. If you have any problems during the conference, come and see myself or Bernie. We've got some helpful volunteers as well as the programme committee. Go easy on Bernie, because this is the first time she's been at the OASPA conference. She's done an amazing job, working really hard to get everything organised with me. So thank you very much, Bernie, wherever you're sitting. I hope you can enjoy seeing everything come together now at the end. So last but not least, thank you so much to the staff here at the Royal Library who've been fantastic, helping us organise anything, and as I said, to our volunteers as well. So with that, I'll wish you all a very interesting and enjoyable conference, and I'm delighted to introduce Niels Stern, who is Head of the Department of Licence Management here at the Royal Library, and he's going to say a few words to you all. Thank you.
Dear delegates, dear colleagues and friends, welcome to the Royal Danish Library. Welcome to the Queen's Hall in the Black Diamond. We are very happy to host this year's OASPA conference, and I would like to thank the OASPA organizing committee for inviting me to give this welcome note. I hope you will enjoy the conference and the city of Copenhagen. In this welcome talk, I would like to give you a brief introduction to the library and its new organizational challenges. Then I will present a brief view of the status for open access in Denmark and finalize by offering you some insights into the field of national license negotiations. The Black Diamond, in which you are, opened to the public in 1999, adding another 20,000 square meters to the existing library building. The facade consists of 2,500 square meters, absolute black granite from Zimbabwe, polished in northern Italy. And inside you have 8 floors with reading spaces, offices, cafe and a restaurant, exhibition facilities, meeting rooms, and this hall. I would recommend you to walk around and discover the building when you have a chance to do so. For instance, from the top view, you get a grand view over the library. If you go up by the escalator, you arrive at a large platform between the new and the old building. It is called the Kirkeby Crossing, named after a famous Danish painter who has decorated the ceiling with massive paintings. When you then cross the bridge, you enter to the old library with wooden panels and a beautiful old reading room. You can look inside, but of course you have to be quiet. Yes. If you walk outside, so outside, cross the street and around the building, you will then see the old library building. This is the facade. And you get into the library garden. And from there, looking in the other direction, you can see the tower of the Danish Parliament, Christiansborg, which used to be the King's Castle. There's an elevator to take you to the top, and you'll get a fantastic view of Copenhagen. Okay, that's all for tourist guiding. And, well, of course, I should give you the tourist tip inside this building. You may have noticed just a few minutes ago that there was, at 1 o'clock, a soundscape in the library building. For 5 minutes, the composer of these soundscapes leads your mind into imaginary worlds, inviting you to a new perspective on the library. This, in fact, is a tradition since the opening of the library. And so tomorrow at 1 o'clock, there will be another session. Now, yes. So, the Royal Library is both National Library and University Library. As National Library, it holds one of the largest collections in the world and is very rich in rare books and manuscripts, some of which are on exhibition just on the other side over here in Rotunden, and you can go and watch some manuscripts. But it's also responsible, the library, for legal deposits and the preservation of cultural heritage, of which important parts have been digitized. The library was founded in 1648 by the Danish King Frederik III. It has had a fairly steady role in Denmark over the years, but then in 2016, a political decision was made to merge the former state library in Aarhus, which is the second largest city in Denmark, with the former Royal Library into the Royal Library. So now we have the old Royal Library and the old State Library is one big library with around 800 employees, distributed across 32 locations with a common and newly updated strategy that comprises both the National Library and the university obligations under one umbrella. As University Library, the Royal Library has had a very long relation with the University of Copenhagen. However, with the merger, the Royal Library has hugely expanded its role as University Library and now serves 5 out of 8 universities in Denmark: Copenhagen, Aarhus, Roskilde, Aalborg, and the IT University, and 3 university hospitals. You may think that this sounds a little bit complex, being University Library for many libraries and National Library in one organization. I agree, it is. And I haven't even shown you the organization chart, but I will spare you for that. It is complex and it is demanding, and we are still in a process of change and consolidation. However, it makes sense. And as an example, I can take my own department, license management and negotiation. We negotiate and manage licenses across the country, and we have staff in 3 cities. You can see them here: Aalborg, Aarhus, and Copenhagen. In this way, we can scale up our efforts and be more efficient and powerful when we negotiate. This is beneficial for the universities, and therefore a good service to offer across the country. Still, we have to listen very carefully to the special demands and needs of each university. Challenging, but manageable. But then a new layer of complexity was added to our department just before summer, and I shall return to this later. But now I will move on to my second topic of this talk: open access in Denmark. What's going on in Denmark, you may ask? Well, in 2014, a national open access strategy was launched in Denmark as a response to the European Commission recommendations on OA from 2012. The goal was to reach 100% open access, and it's much in line with the strategy of the Danish public funders. They made their strategy in 2012. Basically, it's a green strategy, as it focuses on self-archiving of peer-reviewed manuscripts from publicly funded Danish research organizations. These postprints should be archived in an open repository with a maximum embargo period of 12 months. And the strategy was updated just last year, postponing the year for obtaining the goal of 100% OA until 2025, as you can see on this slide. To monitor the progression of the strategy, an open access indicator has been established. Each year in spring, it publishes the data from the institutions showing their percentage of open access publications. And as you can see, the accumulated level of national level of open access so far is developing according to the goal of the strategy. Yeah. Another element of the strategy is a statement within it that requires national license negotiations to ensure that the embargo periods for Danish authors are no longer than 12 months. This is required because authors then can self-archive in alignment with the strategy. They are recommended to do so, they are not mandated to do so. Finally, I should point out that the strategy opens as cat flap to gold open access as long as it is cost neutral. Denmark has not signed Plan S, but we are of course following all the exciting developments that happen in our neighbor countries and beyond closely, and we do take part in a number of international fora on these issues. At the university level, the focus on open science is accelerating, and thereby bringing open access into its larger context. This is very interesting for us because we, as University Library, should align our goals with the ones of the universities. And over the past few years, we have seen across Europe the importance of university engagement in national license negotiations. Universities have to be involved in the development of the negotiation strategies, and these strategies and negotiation goals have to be well explained within the institutions, especially if negotiations fail to meet the goals. We have seen this in Germany, in Sweden, California, and other places. This brings me to my final item for this talk, the national license negotiations. Because as I mentioned earlier, just before summer, another layer of complexity was added to my department. The role as national negotiator running the national consortium. This was previously, and since 1997, run by DEF. However, a political decision was made to dismantle DEF and move the license consortium for all institutions from secondary school upwards to the Royal Library, with an annual spending of around 27 million euro. With the handover came also an opportunity to change the governance structure of the consortium. Previously, the libraries gave the mandates for the negotiations. Moving forward, the negotiation strategies and mandates will be developed jointly between the Royal Library and the Danish universities organized at the highest level. When we execute the strategies and follow our mandates, we then know that we will be backed up by the universities. We think this is a very meaningful and powerful way forward. Most of our national licenses have been technically extended for 2020 due to the taking over of the consortium. But already this autumn, we will begin the strategic dialogue with the universities in order to shape the best possible strategy. Where does that leave Denmark in relation to pure gold OA publishers, you may ask? Well, that's one thing that we have to talk with the universities about. What do they want? Do they want to pursue the well-known national strategy with its green focus, or do they want to explore new paths? We know for a fact that Danish authors spend substantial amounts on OA publishing, hybrid and gold. A national OA monitoring project documented this last year. How should this knowledge be included into the national negotiations? How should or could license negotiations be coupled with open science activities at universities? What kind of impact or outcome are we aiming at? We have lots of questions that will fuel the dialogue with the universities and hopefully lead us to a negotiation strategy that will benefit the research communities in Denmark. Now, finally, to sum up, scholarly publishing has been an important part of the academic life cycle since the 17th century. I have spent many years in scholarly publishing myself, not that far back though, but although this scholarly publishing has had and seen many and deep changes, the process of it remains quite stable, as pointed out in the European Commission report on the future of scholarly publishing and communication. This report, by the way, I can warmly recommend you to read. It operates with 5 central elements in the process of scholarly publishing: registration, certification, dissemination, preservation, and evaluation. All of us who engage in scholarly communication in some way or another have a role to play in this process. And especially you who are here today. The conference program in front of us gives great opportunity to explore and discuss many exciting aspects of open access and scholarly publishing. And I'm very happy that those talks and discussions will take place here at the Royal Danish Library. So once again, a warm welcome to you all. I hope you will enjoy the next couple of days. Thank you.